नमः पार्वतीपतये गोविन्दनाम संकीर्तनम्।
जय जय शंकर, हर हर शंकर।
नारायणं पद्मभूं वसिष्ठं शक्तिं च तत्पुत्र पराशरं च व्यासं शुकं गौडपदं महान्तं गोविन्दयोगीन्द्रमथास्य शिष्यं श्रीशङ्कराचार्यमथास्य पद्मपादं च हस्तामलकं च शिष्यं तं तोटकं वार्तिककारमन्यानस्मद्गुरून् सन्ततमानतोऽस्मि।
Very happy to meet you all here again. First, we will start with a small invocation. As I previously said, last time I said that we will start everything with slogam. We should always start with slogam or any prayer. So we will start with a small invocation here. Om Shuklam Bardaram Vishnum Shashivarnam Chadurbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignobashantaye. Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Guruve Namaha. Guruve Sarva Lokanam Vishaje Bhavaroginam Nidhe Sarva Vidyanam Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. தென்னாடுடைய பெரியவா போற்றி, எந்நாட்டவர்க்கும் இறைவா போற்றி, சர்வஜா சர்வவியாபி பெரியவா சரணம், மாயப்பிறப்பருக்கும் மகா பெரியவா அடி போற்றி. So I am very happy to see you all here again. So we are seeing Adi Shankaracharya's Charitram. Last time I have been saying about Adi Shankara's birth. We have seen his birth. We have seen in the previous session about his birth, how he was raised, what happened in his early years, and how he received his initial studies. Isn't it? How we have all seen about that. So now I think you are all you all know now Adi Shankara's parents' name. Father's name. Can anybody say the father's name of Adi Shankara here?
Shivaguru.
Shivaguru. Excellent. Excellent. His mother's name is
Aryamba.
Yeah, excellent. So see how he was raised and what happened in his previous years. And now I'm going to take you. I'm going to tell you about his. He got
muted. Your teacher. Ma'am, you're muted.
We can't hear you.
You're muted. Ma'am, you're muted.
And now can you all hear?
Yes, we can hear.
Yes.
I don't know how it happened. It went on mute all of a sudden. Huh? I don't know what happened now. So here we have seen in the previous session about the birth of Adi Shankara and how he has been raised and what happened and about his initial studies of Adi Shankara. Now, after getting permission from his mother, he renounced the world. He became sannyasi. He became sannyasi and he has to get it officially initiated, into the sannyasi. So he moved from Kaladi and he went to become a sannyasi. Now what happened is, I want you all to know about, he is going to get a sannyasam from a guru, isn't it? His guru's name is Govinda Bhagavat Padacharya. Now, what I'm going to do is, I want to tell you all about the lineage of our Guru Parampara. That was an interesting story. So, I want to tell you about the lineage of our Advaitic Guru Parampara. So, you should all know about how our Acharyas, put so much effort in preserving, in protecting, and bringing our all our, you know, Vedas and Vedantas and our Advaita Tattvas, you know, Advaita philosophy to us. So now it is our turn. Now it is our turn to learn and protect it, so that, you know, then only we can impart it to the next generation. So we have to know all about the stories of our Guru Parampara. So I'm going to tell you about the Guru of Adi Shankara. We all know about Adi Shankara now, isn't it? How he looks and all. So now I'm going to tell about the Guru of Adi Shankara. The Adi Shankara's Guru is Govinda Bhagavad Padacharya. So he was called as Govinda Bhagavad Padar. And his Guru, that is Govinda Bhagavad Padar's Guru, is Gaudapada. And Gaudapada's Guru is Shukacharya. And Shukar's Guru is Vyasa. And the Vyasa's Guru is Parashara. Parasharar's Guru is Shakti. Shakti's Guru is Vasishta. And Vasishta's Guru is Brahma. And Brahma's Guru is Mahavishnu. Swayam Mahavishnu himself. Mahavishnu, Narayana. Everybody knows Narayana, isn't it? So Mahavishnu. So like that, our Adi Guru is Mahavishnu. Our Adi Guru is Mahavishnu. So Sriman Narayana is our Adi Guru. So from that, the lineage, you know, starts from Narayana to Brahma to Vasishta to Parashara to Shakti to like that, Vyasa, then Shukar, then Gaudapada, then Govinda Bhagavad Padarja, then comes Adi Shankara. So that's how the lineage comes. And these acharyas have put lot of effort. See, from the Mahavishnu, we will see. These are all the very interesting stories for you. See, one time, you know, all the Mahavishnu, you have seen Mahavishnu lying in his snake bed, isn't it? He has got his own bed. See, we all have our own bed, no? We all have our queen bed, king bed, twin bed, everything. And like that, Mahavishnu has his own bed. His bed is a snake bed. That is a 1,000-headed snake. Adi Shesha. You all know Adi Shesha, isn't it? Adi Shesha. He has got his own bed as Adi Shesha, which is very, you know, slimy. I think it will be very smooth and slimy. I don't know about. But so Mahavishnu has got his own bed. That is Adi Shesha. He's a 1,000-headed snake. See, 1,000, the number 1,000, how it got 1,000 is a number in the scriptures for completeness. It's said that 1,000 is a number in scriptures for completeness or fullness. It is Adi Shesha has got he has all the knowledge. He has all the complete knowledge. That is why he has got 1,000 head. Okay. So Mahavishnu was once lying in the snake bed. That is this Adi Shesha's bed. And he was very happy. I don't know why he was very happy, but he was very happy on that day because he was very happy because he was seeing the dance of Nataraja in his heart. Nataraja, you know, Chidambaram Nataraja. I can also share the photo. See if I can share you. Just a minute. Just a minute. See this? Can you all see? This is Mahavishnu, and he's sleeping in the snake bed. Okay, and this is, see another photo I will share. This is Nataraja. See how he is dancing. See this is the Nataraja, and he is dancing in the.
He is Shiva.
Chidambaram. Okay, Chidambaram. This is the place where Nataraja is there, and he was dancing there, and he was enjoying. Narayana was enjoying that dancing. Okay, Chidambaram is a place in Tamil Nadu. There, the Chidambaram Nataraja was dancing there. He was enjoying. Mahavishnu was enjoying his dancing. He was on full excitement, and he was smiling. Adi Shesha was seeing that. Why he was smiling? Why he is smiling now? Oh, what is he enjoying? I want to know that. So then the Mahavishnu said, oh Lord, what are you enjoying? I want to know about it. So Mahavishnu said that I am seeing the dance. I am seeing the Ananda Natanam of Nataraja, and I am seeing that. I am so blissful to see that. I am enjoying that. So Adi Shesha also felt that he has to see that. So Mahavishnu thought, Mahavishnu at a glance, he will know what you are thinking, isn't it? So Adishesha, what Adishesha was thinking, Mahavishnu can understand that. So Mahavishnu told, okay, Adishesha, now it's the time, you can go to Chidambaram. You can go to Chidambaram, you can enjoy the dance of Nataraja, and you can come back. So Adishesha felt very happy. So now what happened is he incarnated. He took birth. He took birth in this world as Patanjali. See, that's another one, Patanjali. See, I want to again share the screen. 1 minute. See, this is the, see here, you can all see, no, this is the Patanjali. Okay. So, what happened is he took birth in this world as Patanjali. That is, he was born to Atri Maharishi. Atri Maharishi. So he was, so he gave birth as a Patanjali and he went to Chidambaram and he enjoyed the dancing of Nataraja. He was all, you know, very blissful and he was all enjoying and he was all in a very excitement mode. At that time, Parameshwara is Nataraja himself. So Parameshwara is Nataraja. So Nataraja told that it's not enough that you came here to enjoy. Okay, I'm going to give you a duty to, see, I'm going to give you a job now. You have to do that job. So Patanjali felt very happy. Yeah, it's a Lord's duty, isn't it? Lord is going to, the Parameshwara, Lord Parameshwara himself is going to give him some job. So I'm very much excited. I can take this and I will do that. So Parameshwara told, see, when Kali Yuga started, this is the Yugam where we live is called Kali Yugam. So when Kali Yuga started, people started getting so much of illness. So the illness of the body, the mind, okay? So because of all the impurities, we have all the impurities because of the decline of consciousness. So problems, see, our lifestyle is completely different. So in those yugas, you know, there are 4 yugas. Krita Yugam, Treta Yugam, Dwapara Yugam, and this is Kali Yugam. And all the 3 yugas, you know, the previous yugas, people were living long life and people were very happy without sick. So they were all very happy, enjoying and all. But during this Kali Yuga, you know, we are in the Kali Yuga period. So we are facing all the problems. We are facing all the illness, so much of, you know, illness in the body, in the mind, and so many things are happening, isn't it? Because, you know, the nature change. And actually, we are not in harmony with the nature also. Because as we are not in harmony with the nature, what will happen? At some point, it comes back to us. You know, at some point, so see, when you are polluting that, we are polluting us, isn't it? So that's what it comes back to us. So what happens is our body, our mind, I mean, even our speech, you know, we have impurities in our speech. So what you have to do is, Parameshwara told, what you have to do is, you have to impart the knowledge to all the people, okay, to all the people in order to purify their body, their mind, as well as the speech. So Patanjali was given the knowledge. Patanjali was instructed to go to the world to instruct the part of Ayurveda. So what happened is he taught, he has to instruct now Yoga Sutras to purify the body, and Ayurveda. He is going to give the Ayurveda teaching in order to purify the body and mind. And he is going to prepare a grammar for us in order to purify our speech. Okay, so he is now full of knowledge. Now Patanjali is full of knowledge. He has to impart it. He said that I will not share it with few students. Okay, I'm not going to share it with the few students because, you know, they may forget, they may not retain, they may fail to retain, or they can't teach, or they can even get distorted, isn't it? So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to safeguard this knowledge. You know, he has got all the knowledge. So to safeguard this knowledge, I would love to, you know, I would love to have 1,000 sincere students. So he went to the Vindhya mountains in the southern region of Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu, southern region, he went there. So there, 1,000 sincere students, they all gathered there. Okay, he put one condition before teaching, okay, before giving the knowledge to the students, he put one condition. See, I am ready to teach you all as long as I am teaching, as long as this teaching continues. Nobody is allowed to get up. Okay, no breaks in between. So this is one condition. So you need to sit through the whole course. You need to sit the whole course, whole program, you have to sit and listen. Okay, so there is no need to get up. Okay, you should not get up in between. This is one of the condition, one condition. Otherwise, what will happen is, if you get up, then you will be turned into Brahma Rakshas. Okay. Second condition. What the second condition? See, second condition is there will be a wheel, or there will be a curtain or screen. Okay, screen in between me and the students. Okay, in between him and the students. So he said, I'll be teaching behind the curtain, and nobody is allowed to lift the screen, or nobody is allowed to peek through the screen. Okay, if somebody say, okay, everybody, they took the sankalpa. Sankalpa means they all agreed. Okay, okay, and then he started teaching. He started teaching. Who started teaching? Patanjali started teaching. Patanjali started teaching, and he is ready to impart the knowledge to all the 1,000 sincere students. What happened is, same here, one magic happened. One extraordinary thing happened. The thing is, each and every student can realize, each and every one of them realize that there was a one-on-one session, because they can get the knowledge. Because actually, what has happened, he was teaching to all of them at the same time, but each one felt that the teacher is giving instructions to him alone. That is, he is asking the doubt, and the teacher is solving the doubt. And this is how it is going on. See, this is an extraordinary thing is happening. So people were amazed. Students were amazed. They were all wonderstruck. Wow, how can a teacher can solve all the doubts individually to all the students? How is it possible? It's not possible. So how is he doing? So, but everybody is taking notes, and everybody were sincere doing everything. But what happened at that moment? They could grasp everything. No gestures, no seeing. Okay, the one has to see the teacher, no? So no seeing, no gestures, only from the sound they can able to grasp the entire thing. They are getting entire knowledge. See, they could, when the teaching was going on, what happened was, when the teaching was going on, one small fellow, one small boy, what happened is, he has an urge to go to bathroom. Okay, he was not supposed to go. He was not supposed to go outside, but he has an urge to go to bathroom, and he couldn't hold that. He couldn't hold. So he thought, okay, I can hold it for some time, but no, not possible. I have to go. So he thought, okay, quietly I can go outside, and quickly I will come back. Okay, quietly I will go outside and go to the bathroom, and quickly I'll come back, so the teacher would not know, because he is behind the screen. No, the teacher is behind the screen. So quietly, what happened? He left the room. After he left the room, what happened? The other people also become restless, because this is called the collective consciousness. As one fellow, this is how the mind works. When one fellow is disturbed, all the other fellows also getting, or also will get disturbed. So though they were trying to be, disciplined, they were curious, knowing, they were very, very curious about knowing the teacher behind the screen. Who is the teacher? How can he do that? Who is the teacher? How can he explain it? It's going into my mind, and it's as if it's one-on-one teaching is happening. How it's possible? See, how is the teaching like that? So one fellow became so curious. He lifted the wheel. That means he lifted the curtain or screen in between, and he lifted the curtain and saw a 1,000-headed serpent standing there. Because Patanjali himself was a an incarnation of Adishesha, isn't it? So, but the moment he lifted the screen, the moment he lifted the curtain, what happened? All the 999 students were burned to ashes. All of them were burned to ashes. Because they are not supposed to open the screen, isn't it? You're not supposed to lift the screen. They did it. So everyone was turned into ashes, burned to ashes. When this happened, Patanjali became very sad because, you know, he has come to this world to impart knowledge to everybody. But he couldn't do that. His effort has all gone to waste, isn't it? At this moment, that little boy who went outside for a bathroom break, he came back. He came back. He was shivering, seeing the teacher. He was shivering. He was just trembling. But what did I do is, seeing him, Patanjali was shocked. He asked, how did you come here? Where are you from? How are you here? See, he was shocked. This boy, what happened? This boy fell on his knees and he was weeping and he was shivering. He said, oh master, please forgive me. I should not have left the class. But what means, I have an urge to go to the bathroom. I couldn't hold, so I am going. So I went there, please forgive me. Patanjali was full of compassion. Patanjali was full of compassion. And he said, okay, it's okay. And he felt very happy also, because at least one is left. One is left to know the knowledge. Yeah, to know the knowledge. So he said, you sit down, okay? You sit down. And I am going to give you, he gave him the complete knowledge. He gave him the complete knowledge. But then what happened? He said, because you violated, because you broke the rule, isn't it? So you have to get the punishment. Anyhow, you broke the rule because you violated, you went out of the classroom. So you have to get the punishment. Otherwise, there will be an imbalance between the karma, isn't it? So there will be an imbalance. So you have to become a Brahma Rakshas, demon. Brahma Rakshas, you know, Rakshas. Rakshas means, Rakshas is a ghost. It's like a ghost. The interesting thing about the ghost is, who will become a ghost, you know? The interesting thing is that a Rakshas is one who has accumulated a lot. And if he doesn't share it, then he becomes a Rakshas. Someone accumulated wealth, and think that if someone is accumulating lot of wealth and he's not sharing, then he'll become a Rakshas. What Brahma Rakshas, you know, Brahma Rakshas is something, if someone has lot of wisdom, lot of knowledge, but if he is not sharing anything, he becomes a Brahma Rakshas, because of Brahma knowledge, you know, he is getting the wisdom. So it's more worst, it's most worst. So that is why in ancient times, what happens is the scholars and the masters or the teachers or the acharyas, they will search for disciples. You know, they wanted to share the knowledge. They can't keep it for themselves, because otherwise they'll become Brahma Rakshas. Here, this fellow, he asked, what is his name? Where from he is coming? This little boy told, I am a boy from Gauda Desam. So I am here. So he has imparted, this Patanjali, he has imparted all the knowledge at once, because he has got that yogic power. So he at once imparted all the knowledge to this Gauda boy, but he became Brahma Rakshas. There's nothing to do. He got stuck up in a tree. There near the Narmada River, near a tree, near the Narmada River, he got stuck into the tree. He became Brahma Rakshasa. So the Patanjali became more compassionate. So what he said is, he gave him a solution also. He told him a solution. There is a way to come out of this curse, or to come out of this. How, you know, when you find a student, that is, even one is enough, to whom you can pass on this knowledge, to whom you can share this knowledge, or share it, you will be liberated. You will be free from that. Okay. So you'll no longer be a Brahma Rakshasa. So, but this knowledge is a Brahma knowledge, no? It's a supreme knowledge, you know. So the knowledge can be given only to a worthy person. You can't give anything to anybody, isn't it? See, when you are pouring something into a container, the container should be very good. Suppose, for example, if you are pouring a pure water, see, if you are pouring a pure water to a container, then the container should be very pure, because the pure water is poured into the container. If the container is contaminated or if it's dirty, the water will also become dirty, isn't it? So the patram, that's called a patram. So worthy person can only get a good knowledge. So you have to search for a worthy person. That is a worthy student. For that, you have to ask a question. So Patanjali gave him a question. Okay? Question, and that's a tricky grammar question. That's a tricky grammar question. You have to ask this question to, so he told the question to ask, and he said, you ask the question. So he has to ask the question the people about this, and if they gave the right answer, they are eligible. Okay, they are eligible to be instructed with the knowledge. So if they gave the wrong answer, what will happen? He will eat them, because he's a Brahma Rakshas. He's supposed to do that. He's supposed to be very scary, isn't it? He's not a pleasant guy. So he's supposed to be very scary, and he will eat them. So the Brahma Rakshas will eat them. So he said, the Patanjali said this, and Patanjali disappears. So what happened is, this Brahma Rakshas, he was stuck in the tree. He was stuck to the tree. Whenever people pass by, he will catch them and ask the question. All of them would give only wrong answers. So what happened? He will eat them. So he was sitting in the tree, and this went on for a very long time, even for centuries. He could not find even one worthy person. So for instructing this Brahma Sutras. So after all this time, this Patanjali, he was also, Patanjali know that he is all stuck into the tree, and with all the compassion, Patanjali is always a compassionate person. So with all the compassion, he took one more birth. So already Patanjali has taken birth. Already Adishesha has taken birth as Patanjali. Now Patanjali is taking another birth, and came here as a disciple, as a Brahmin boy. He was called Chandragupta Sharma in this in this birth. So he came there. He was passing by. As usual, the Brahma Rakshas got hold of this boy. He put the question. He asked the question, tricky question. He can able to say the answer, because he came there. He already knows the answer, isn't it? So he gave the right answer. So finally, he was able to teach this boy. Teach him. What happened? Here the teacher is a Brahma Rakshas, and he will be sitting only on the top of the tree, isn't it? So the disciple has also to go. He has to follow the guru. So what happened is, he has to climb the top of the tree to get the knowledge. See, however acharyas have put the effort, so much of effort they have put in bringing the knowledge to us, isn't it? So he was sitting at the top of the tree. That Brahma Rakshas was sitting at the top of the tree, and he said, you cannot, see, I will tell you, you can't break the rule that you have to sit and listen. You can't get up. You can't have any breaks. Okay? You don't have any breaks now. You have to sit continuously and listen. So the Rakshas was sitting on the top of the tree, and this fellow also climbed. This disciple also climbed on the top of the tree to hear all those things. The Brahma Rakshas started dictating, started teaching, started dictating. So in order to preserve, what happened is, this Chandragupta Sharma, this boy, what happened is, he took his nail from the finger and started writing like a pen. He used his nail from the finger as a pen, and he scratched his thigh. And the blood came, So he used the blood as a ink, and the nail as a pen, and he plucked all the leaves from the tree, and he used it as a paper. So he would take the leaves and write on it. All the scriptures and everything, he would write on it. See, this is how he noted down the Yoga Sutras, the grammar and everything. So after 7 days of, morning and evening and night and everything, after 7 days and nights, because he has to take all the notes, he has to take all the notes from the Brahma Rakshas. He attained the knowledge from the Brahma Rakshasa. He attained the knowledge from his guru. The guru is the Brahma Rakshas only. So after imparting, and because he has completed his task, the Brahma Rakshasa regained his original form. That is how the curse will be broken is he has to impart the knowledge to another disciple. So he regained his original form. So now he was free. Now he was free and liberated. Okay. But, after getting liberated, this Gauda boy is the Brahma Rakshas, isn't it? So he went to the Himalayas, Badrikashram. There he went and met Shukacharya. Shukacharya, he prostrated him in front of Shukacharya, and Shukacharya initiated him as Gaudapadar. Gaudapadar. Now he is doing penance there. Gaudapadar is doing tapas there in Badrikashram. Here, what happened is this small boy, this Chandragupta Sharma boy, the Brahmin boy who got everything. He got all the knowledge from the Gaudapadar. Means this Brahma Rakshas, and he has written all the scriptures in the leaves. And he put everything in the cloth because of the strenuous learning, because continuously he has been learning, he has been taking notes for all the 7 days and night he was taking, because of the strenuous labor. What happened is he fell asleep. He dozed off. He fell asleep, putting all the leaves in the cloth. He dozed off. He fell asleep. Now, at that moment, something, he heard something. After hearing something, he suddenly woke up because he heard something, some noise. He saw that a goat, somewhere, a goat has come, and the goat was, eating all those leaves on which he has written all the scriptures. So he quickly shooed away the goat and collected the remaining leaves, the remaining leaves, and, he bundled the leaves in the cloth, and he went to the nearby village. He left to the nearby village. He was so sad because he has to, the goat has taken half of the leaves. So half of the scriptures were gone, but he has protected another half of the scriptures for us only. So he protected that, and whatever the leaves knowledge was left, he went to the nearby village, but he has not taken any food. Till that time he has not taken any food. So he fell unconscious in front of a merchant's house there in the village, a nearby village. He felt unconscious. So he fell unconscious, and that merchant, whomsoever, the merchant's daughter, she came outside. She saw that a man was, young boy was, there. He felt unconscious. He was feeling unconscious. She understood that it's due to lack of food. He doesn't have any food. That's why he is feeling unconscious. So what happened is she went inside. She brought the cooked rice and she massaged all over the body of this young boy, because this all the vitamins, minerals, everything will go inside his body through the pores. And he opened his eyes. Okay, he said, "Thank you, madam. I'm going now." He started to go. But at once, what happened? The merchant came outside, and this daughter said to the merchant, said to the merchant, that I am in love with this young boy and I want to marry him. The merchant said, "No, you can't go back. You can't go. See, my daughter fell in love with you and you have to marry him. You have to marry her." Now he said, this Chandragupta Sharma said, "No, this is not the way. This is not why I have come to this world. There's another much more thing to do. See, I want to become a sannyasi. I have to, I have to share. These knowledge ought to be propagated to the world. That's how he has come, isn't it? That's why he has come." But now the merchant is insisting, no. Since she has massaged you are going to get married to her. So they went to the king's court. Now the king, seeing this young boy, he thought, wow, how he is looking. He's looking so glorious, so beautiful. So I want to marry my daughter to him. So he asked this Chandragupta Sharma to marry his daughter also. He was asking about this to his chief minister, that is Mantri. Mantri saw him. Wow, such a glorious person. I want to marry my daughter to him. So that's how, all the three girls, he was, compelled to marry all the three girls. But three is not good in scripture. So 4. So he married 4 girls. Chandragupta Sharma, he married 4 girls and he got children like Vararuchi. Vararuchi is one of the children. Vikramadityan, Patti, and the 4th one is Bhadrahiri. See, all the 4 are sages. All the 4 are scholars, renowned scholars. So from the Chandragupta Sharma is incarnation of Patanjali, and Patanjali is incarnation of Adishesha, isn't it? So from Adishesha came all the 4 scholars. Now he thought that it's time now I have to go. I have to go to the Himalayas, that is Badrikashram. I have to propagate this knowledge. So he went to Badrikashram. There he met this Gaudapadar. Gaudapadar, there he was sitting and he is doing tapas, isn't it? So there he met Gaudapadar. He prostrated in front of him. He became a sannyasi and he was given a Diksha Namam. That is, now this Chandragupta Sharma became Govinda Bhagavad Padar. Now he is the Govinda, and he came to the Narmada river. He came near the Narmada river. He was sitting inside the cave. Was waiting for Adi Shankaracharya. Now you got it, no? Adi Shankara, how Adi Shankara's guru is Govinda Bhagavad Padacharya, and Govinda Bhagavad Padacharya's guru is Gaudapada. How this knowledge has come, from Adi Narayanan. See, we used to say one slogan, Narayanam Padmabhuvam Vasishtam cha Tatputram Parasharam cha Vyasam Shukam Gaudapadam Mahantam Govinda Yogindram Adasya Sishyam Sri Shankaracharyam Adasya Padmapadam cha Hastamalagam cha Shishyam tam Totakam Vartikakaran Asman Gurum Santatamana tosmi, Santatamanam tosmi, Sadashiva Samarambam, Shankaracharya Madhyama, Asmadacharya Paryantam, Vande Guru Paramparam. This is the Parampara. Parampara means lineage from Narayanam. Padmabhuvam means Brahma, then Vasishthar. These are all the sons. Narayana's son is Brahma. Brahma's son is Vasishthar. Vasishthtar's son is Parasharar. Parasharar's son is Shakti. Shakti's son is Vyasar. Vyasar's son is Shukar. Till Sugar, it's a son, father and son lineage. And from Sugar, it got into, Gaudapada, then Govinda Bhagavad Pada, then comes our Adi Shankaracharya. So this is our Guru's lineage. We have to think our Guru Acharya. See, they have all, they have taken a lot of efforts to bring them our Vedas and Vedanta. So all of you, you have to start learning simple slogans. From simple slogans, you can learn Vedas, Vedantas and everything. So right from today, you make a decision to learn simple slogans. Start, doing prayers to our Acharyas. And today I will stop this session today. And next time we will come to know about Acharya, how our Acharya, went to Govinda Bhagavad Padacharya and got initiated and everything. So today we have got, today we did a lot of punyams to know about, our Acharya Parampara. So I will conclude this session by chanting Purnamidam. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyati. Thank you, children. Thank you. We will meet next time. Okay, thank you.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
We'll have the shloka